Dr. Vandana Shiva, it's an absolute pleasure to meet you and to sit down and talk about your Seed Freedom Fortnight of Action. I was looking at the release about it and the information, and in it you're talking about liberation of the seed. The words liberation, freedom, survival. You talk about a war being waged on our seeds. It really is a call to arms.
No, it's a call to peace.
I like it. Talk to me about your call to arms for peace.
Well, the point is that the Fortnight of Action is really intensifying what we've been doing for 25 years through Navdanya. When I first realized that the corporations that had sold toxic chemicals now wanted to own the seed as if it was their invention, and they were the creators, and they wanted to collect royalties, and they wanted to genetically modify the seed in order to own it and patent it. That's when 25 years ago I started both saving seeds and started Navdanya and the Community Seed Bank, but also resisting seed monopolies through patents or breeders' rights or laws that criminalize seed saving. 25 years later, we feel this issue is so important, and the seed emergency is so deep now. You know, nearly 80% of the commercial seed is controlled by 5 companies who are only giving people the option of GM seed, who've ganged up against the planet and people. And unless we liberate the seed and liberate ourselves, there's no chance for survival of most species as well as the human species. So it is definitely a struggle for planetary survival. And the Fortnight of Action is to intensify the wake-up call. We don't think that one fortnight will do it. We know for the next 10 years we'll have to do this. But at least it intensifies the invitation for people to say, wake up to see what's happening to the biodiversity of the planet, to the seeds of the farmers that you're eating.
Yes, I do like the fact that you've confined it and you've focused it to a fortnight so that this energy can be promoted and directed across many forms of media. What do you see as being the first step that individuals can take to be a part of this Fortnight of Action?
I think the first step is sign the Declaration of Seed Freedom. Go to the seedfreedom.in website and sign that declaration. And also just read the basics about what's happening, why we are in a seed emergency, and why we need to respond. One other thing people can do is start actually saving seeds. If you're eating fruit from an open pollinated variety, save the seed, grow it somewhere. If you don't have land, grow it in a potted plant. If you're in a school or an institution, start seed banks and start declaring your region's seed freedom zones where the seed is free and people are free of corporate colonization. And the reason we picked the particular dates for the Seed Freedom Fortnight are dates we have worked on again for the last 25 years. 2nd of October is Gandhi's birth anniversary. And Gandhi gave us deep concepts of how to build deep freedom, as well as how to resist bad and unjust law by saying we won't cooperate. And from day one, we have been saying we do not accept patents on life, so people should declare wherever they are. Seed is not an invention of corporations. We do not accept patents on life. If you're a farmer, start organizing as collectives to say we won't pay royalties. Start doing a civil disobedience. So 2nd October really is a call for both constructive action to save the seed and civil disobedience. But then we go on till 16th of October, which is World Food Day, to show that more and more people are getting concerned about what's happening to food. But food begins in seed. If your seed is GM, your food will be GM. So the way out of GM food is to have GM-free seed. You're worried about toxics in your food. That's because the entire seed breeding was designed for chemicals. That's just...
Yeah. I have this container here of seeds. And when I talk to kids, I tell them, in this container, I could feed you and your children and your children's children with these open pollinated seeds forever. in that one small container.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's incredibly powerful, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'm going to turn this thing around so you can see at the back all our seats that we keep in Delhi for the schools, for the children. Exactly. That's our little seed distribution. Though, of course, we have seed banks for farmers with thousands of varieties. But these are just vegetable seeds for the school gardens.
Yes. Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, I've got this other one. The other one I have here that I like to talk about is I was given this by a friend in Tasmania, and the seed was 80 years in Tasmania, and now it's 10 years in South Australia. It has a story. It has resilience to different climates. Talk to me about the importance of resilience.
Well, resilience is the very nature of freedom seed. Seed is free when it has the capacity to evolve. When it has the capacity to evolve, it has the capacity to adapt. When it has the capacity to adapt, it has the capacity for resilience. Resilience is the ability to adapt. Now, seeds bred for that dose of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, that particular spray of Roundup for a Roundup ready seed, that particular amount of irrigation water, have zero resilience. They have been bred and engineered for totally predictable inputs, which are no longer predictable. Rain can't be predicted. You have your drought, we have our drought. So we need to bring back the drought-resilient seeds that our ancestors evolved. We need to bring back the seeds that are able to cooperate with other, because native seeds were evolved with human cooperation, with plants cooperating with each other. The industrial seeds have been bred through a war against plants with herbicides, pesticides, fertilizer, and a war between plants who can't tolerate each other, so you must have monocultures. That is why we must have adaptation to cooperation, not just to climate change.
Yeah, yeah. I love the fact that you talk about seeds as the first link in the food chain. The repository. Behind you there is the repository of life's future evolution.
Yeah.
And like that whole obligation and duty to pass on these seeds through children for the future generations. What I wanted to ask you about was like gardening, the power of gardening and exposing children to gardening. How important is that in your big picture?
I think it's absolutely vital, because I think the disease humanity is suffering is a 300-year separation from nature. And it's even been called the nature deficit disorder, where children have all the games they can play on the video. They have all the, and the sad thing is, you can have violence through those games, but you can't teach nurture. You can't teach belonging. And there are now studies that are showing that psychologically, young kids brought up on video games are losing the part of the brain that allows for empathy, that allows for a sense of belonging, that allows for a sense of compassion. So there is literally a drying up of the part of the brain that allows us to be fully human. And that is why gardening is vital, because it doesn't just allow us to be in touch with the soil, it actually reconnects us at our deepest level to our own being, which is part of the earth.
Yeah. That I talk about gardening the soil and the soul.
Yeah.
Everything you're talking about there, the role of that when people are growing, children are growing food, they're engaging, they're connecting with the seasons, the cycles of nature, the sharing. You kind of look at this, and we're going back to the power of the village, aren't we?
Definitely, we're going back to the power of nature-friendly. human communities. And of course, the village is the best system for that, not mega cities.
Yeah. Now, as a communicator, as a motivator, you're a storyteller. What can communities do? So we've talked about the individual. We've talked about children and engaging schools and getting them connected with the importance of this container. What can communities start to do in cities?
I think the first is the communities have to recognize they are community.
Yeah.
That we are not individuals. Margaret Thatcher was wrong when she said there's no society, there's only individuals. We are community. That's why patenting is wrong, because it assumes there's invention when everything is a community enterprise. So the second thing people need to do as community is to recognize that both the seeds and the knowledge embodied in the seed and the culture embodied in the seed is a community, collective commons. It is not private property.
So the next, the 2 weeks in October are a confined action. What?
It's not a confined action. They're an intensification of open-ended action.
Yeah, exactly. I like the way you've put that. So what are your broader strategies in the long term to carry this on?
Well, the first is we've got to save every seed we can, and everyone should strive to become a seed saver. And if you can't directly do it, find a farmer who will give you good food who can become a seed saver. Become part of the chain of seed saving. The second is, as I said, start recognizing your power to say no to patents on seed. I think over the next 5 to 10 years, we should have such a large awareness around the world that is outraged by the idea that suddenly some company said, we are God the creator, we created this stuff, and now you pay us royalties, and if you have to die paying us those royalties, as Indian farmers are suffering. I mean, 270,000 Indian farmers have committed suicide, most of them in the cotton area, which Monsanto now controls. So I would call those suicides a genocide because of seed royalties. So liberate the seed means liberate it from patents. Start questioning laws that make it illegal for us to have our own seed. Start questioning laws that make seed a monopoly of Monsanto. Start questioning laws that are destroying the heritage that our future generations deserve to enjoy, like we have enjoyed in our own lives. And most importantly, start recognizing that all food begins in seed. It's a disconnect that we have to overcome. Most people see a plate of food, have no idea, have absolutely no idea that there was a little seed that started it all.
And what sort of changes do you see come over people when they start to actually collect seed and become a part of?
I think the first is they realize there's such abundance out there. Because when a seed is patented, when a seed is genetically modified, when a seed is terminated and made sterile, it's an economics and culture of scarcity. Whereas each seed multiplies into thousands, and each of those thousands multiplies into thousands. By its very nature, seeds that are free are sources of abundance.
And nature, like you say, nature provides this abundance so freely and readily. Yet people have lost that understanding of that freedom.
Yeah.
You know, and now, as you say, certain seeds are being contained and kept in a bag away from others, and the only access to them is through dollar.
Yeah.
So
liberate the seed has to be a major survival movement. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, look, I appreciate your time.
Good luck. Keep in touch about what you do. Let us know.
Yes. Well, look, when when the time comes that you come to Australia, I'd love to reconnect and
Sure.
put you onto Gardening Australia so that we can share your wonderful wealth of knowledge.
Sure.
If you could leave me with one final thought for everyone, particularly the kids.
Particularly the kids.
Yeah.
That take a seed that's fertile, put it into the soil, give it love and water, and see how it gives you so much more than you could ever give to it.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Dr. Vandana Shiva. It's been a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
I look forward to meeting you one day soon.